Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. I'm your host. We talk about mental health, how to just be your best self in this podcast. And I just love that we talk about real life shit here, okay? I'm glad you're here to join me. Today, we're going to be talking about a very important topic. It's going to be about why you may be attracting the same type of people. That's what we're going to get into today. But before I dive into it, I just want to give you a little update on my life. I finally started my new job. I started last week, I want to say. Yeah, last week. And it's going really well. I just got back from work right now. That's why I'm like kind of just like this. Again, I still have a pile of crap in the back because I'm going on a girls trip this weekend and I'm also going to Greece next week. I'm so excited. So I'm like pre-recording a few episodes just so I have the content to upload while I'm away because I don't want you guys to miss any episodes. So please ignore the background. It's not cute, but it's okay. That just proves that I am still here to talk to you guys. So to kick off the topic, we're going to be talking about how patterns are a mirror, okay? Let's start with the obvious but uncomfortable truth. So we repeat things that feel familiar to us, not what feels good. So when you keep attracting the same kind of toxic people, the people who ignore your needs, maybe breadcrumb you with attention or drain your energy, it's not because you're unlucky. It's because somewhere deep down, that pain mirrors something that you've experienced before, and it usually stems from maybe a childhood situation or a past relationship. That's a lot of the case. If love was inconsistent growing up, like a parent who showed affection only when you had good behavior, then as an adult, you may be subconsciously chasing relationships that you have to quote unquote earn love. And you shouldn't have to earn love. I talked about this in a previous episode, I believe, where you should not have to feel like you earn love. And it's not because you enjoy being hurt. It's because this dynamic is familiar to you. And in the brain, especially when it's unhealed, it scientifically confuses something that's familiar with safety. Because this situation is not safe to you, but these patterns are very familiar to you, so you're a little more comfortable in these toxic situations. And we may not be realizing that we are in toxic situations because we're like, oh, this is what I'm used to. This is the norm. But patterns don't lie. If you want to change what you attract, you have to become aware of what you're repeating. And that's where it gets a little tricky because we're not always aware of what's going on. A lot of times, maybe your friends or your family is like, why are you dating this person? They're not good for you at all. Maybe they see it, but it's hard for you to see it because you're just used to somebody like that. For example, we all know my father was abusive. He was insane. He ignored me, yada, yada, yada. I got into a relationship where he was kind of the same thing, like abusive, a narcissist, all that. But not because I love being hurt, not because I love toxic relationships, not because I love being sad. It's because that is what my brain is familiar with when it comes to men. And I don't like that. I struggled with that, but now I'm aware of it. So now I can prevent it a little bit because once I see that I'm attracting the same types of people over and over, I'm like, oh, they're very much like my father. Ding, 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 red flag. That means I need to get away. Get away. But the patterns are a mirror. And you need to realize that. You just need to figure out how to become aware. And I know it can be a little tricky, but if people are telling you that somebody is not good for you, think about it. Listen to them. They're not trying to hurt you. They care about you. They recognize the patterns before you do. We need to talk about the role you're playing into this. And it's all about accountability, not in a judgmental way, but in an empowering way. You are not responsible for how someone treats you. However, you are responsible for who you continue to give access to in your life. So maybe ask yourself, what red flags am I ignoring? Am I hoping someone will become who I need instead of accepting who they are? Do I feel more comfortable in dysfunction than I do in stability? And the answer for me is I did. I felt safer in dysfunction. I was comfortable with that. My last relationship was hell. Like The guy was a narcissist. He was abusive. He didn't give me what I needed. He drank pretty much every single day. He did some druggies. I don't want to talk about that. But I stayed because that felt safer to me than being alone because I did suffer with anxiety and I was stressed out. I did not feel like I would have been okay on my own. And guess what, y'all? I am here alone. I am fine. I am great. I was just attracting the wrong type of person because I was just comfortable in dysfunction. And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. They say, this is statistically proven, by the way, we tend to chase people who our parents were like. So, like for me, we chase people who are like our fathers, but for men, they'll chase people who are like their mothers. If their mom was crazy, they're gonna attract women who are crazy. And it's just how it is. And the only way to get out of it is if you acknowledge it. And sometimes we don't attract toxic people. We're just tolerating them because we are scared of being alone. We are uncomfortable with being alone. And every time you ignore that gut feeling, every time you explain away their behavior, give them the benefit of the doubt constantly, you're just silently telling the universe, you know, this is what I'll tolerate. This is all I'm good for. This is all I want. And that's not self love. That is self abandonment. You are abandoning your needs, your desires, your goals, everything you've ever dreamed for. You're abandoning them because you are settling for someone who does not deserve you, isn't giving you what you need. If they're not giving you what you need, and you're constantly asking them, like, I need this from you, I need this from you, I need this from you, leave it. This is a toxic situation, and that is why you are attracting the same type of people. That is why all of your relationships are ending the same way, because you are seeking people who are giving you what you're used to. And this is a thing for me. So I started dating again, right? I've talked about that a little bit before. And this guy I was seeing, he was so nice. He got me flowers. He took me on dates. He showed so much interest in me. He was honestly trying hard. Like he was proving that he wanted to be with me. And that kind of scared me away a little bit. I was like, oh my God, he's clingy. He's scary. Like, I don't like this. And it just frightened me because that wasn't what I was used to. I even told my best friend. So this dude, he texted me at around 5:30 in the morning, and my phone's always on do not disturb, and he knew that, but he texted me good morning and like basically just saying good morning beautiful. And I got pissed off. Like I told my friend, I was like, that shit's ridiculous. Why is he texting me at 5:30 in the morning? That's annoying. And she was like, wait, you're mad about that? I was like, wait, I am. But like it was because I was pushing him away because I was used to people who didn't do that, who I always had to reach out in the morning. With my ex, I had to always text him, "Oh, good morning." Like it was never him reaching out to me first. And I don't know, I guess seeing someone try like that, it made me in my head say, "Oh my God, they're clingy. I'm scared. I need to get away from this person." When the truth is, they are not clingy. They are just giving me what I deserve. They were treating me like a princess. They were showing me they had interest in me, and I pushed that person away. And they're not in my life anymore because of how I was, not because of how he was, but I allowed it to happen because I was like, I can't do this. But see what I mean when I say that's not self love, that's self abandonment. I had somebody giving me what I truly deserved, and I let them go because I was scared. Let's dig a little bit into some psychology here. My therapist hat is coming on, all right? A lot of people don't realize that our attachment style that is formed from early childhood plays a massive role in who we're attracted to. So I want to give you a quick breakdown on attachment styles. I have a full episode on attachment styles if you're interested in looking at that, but here's a little spiel about them. So, anxious attachment, that's what I am, unfortunately. And that is you crave closeness, but you often feel like you're doing too much. You overgive, you over apologize, and you settle just to feel needed. And this is how I was because of my childhood trauma with my dad. And that's why I attracted the type of person like my ex, where I was over giving myself. I was over apologizing. He cheated on me and I was like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't there for you. What, bitch? Like, what are you saying? Why are you apologizing for them cheating on you? Why are you apologizing for someone hurting you? That's anxious attachment. So if you are catching yourself constantly apologizing to people when you know you really didn't do anything wrong, but you're apologizing for your feelings, you should never have to apologize for your feelings. That is the anxious attachment here. You just settle for whatever just because you want to feel needed and you want to feel like somebody's there for you. So that's me, unfortunately, but we're working through it. Now there's avoidant attachment where you want love, but you pull away when things get too lovey-dovey and you feel a little too vulnerable, and you attract people who are emotionally intense, anxious people, but you feel smothered when they get too close. That is how my ex was, very avoidant. And honestly, they kind of attract each other. I'll talk about that in a minute, but that you want the love, you want to feel loved, but when somebody gets close to you, you just get a little scared. You think people are being too intense. Wait, maybe I'm avoidant now. I was anxious. I think I'm avoidant now. Look at me. I'm being a therapist to myself. Anyway, but you feel super smothered when someone is getting too close to you. So whenever you're in like a situationship and they're like, oh, I really like you, but I'm not looking for anything serious right now, they're most likely an avoidant person. Now we have secure attachment. This is the one we want to be, but it's very rare and it's very hard to be like this. But you're able to give love and receive love without the fear of abandonment and losing yourself. And this is really hard to get to. This comes with a lot of therapy, I promise you. But you're able to give the perfect amount of love. You're able to take the perfect amount of love, and you're not going to get scared and you're not going to spiral. You're not going to lose yourself. So, what happens? Like I said, anxiously attached people, they often attract avoidance. And that's because this dynamic feels very exciting, but it's actually just triggering your nervous system. And we're mistaking chaos for chemistry and intensity for intimacy. We are thinking this chaotic situation is us loving each other. When people say, oh, I'm just a passionate lover, it's not healthy. It's not. We're confusing that chaos with us having chemistry with one another. And then we have trauma bonding. This is when your brain links pain to connection. And this is why people stay in situationships, toxic relationships, or even go back to people who have hurt them repeatedly. That is because you are trauma bonded to that person. That's why when you see so many people who have been on and off for like 10 plus years, they're trauma bonded to each other. Because if it feels like a roller coaster, it's probably a red flag. Healthy love is calm, cool, collected, it's safe. If it's boring to the wounded parts of you until those parts heal. And you're gonna be in this relationship, and if it feels healthy and safe to you, you're gonna think you're bored. When you're not really bored, you need to heal those parts of you. And I think that's where I was struggling with the one dude when he was honestly so nice to me. He was giving me everything I ever wanted. I would always say, oh, I wanted someone to be like this. And he did do that, but I was like, I can't do it. I'm scared. This doesn't feel right. I'm bored. I need to find something else. That's because those parts of me were not healed yet. Healing can be a confusing and very stressful process because we don't really understand that we're healing when we're healing. So, let's talk a little bit about what happens when you heal, because once you start healing, you don't just cry and journal, you change your standards. You stop chasing, you stop begging for closure, you stop thinking someone's potential is your responsibility. You stop being available to people who don't communicate, don't prioritize you, or only come around when it's convenient for them. Your taste starts to change. You're going to crave peace over passion. You're going to want to crave emotional availability over unpredictability. And you're going to recognize the difference in consistency instead of grand gestures or love bombing, because that is another thing that we don't realize someone's doing to us. We can fall into this trap when they're love bombing us and think that they want us. No, they're just trying to get us. And once they have us, they're going to stop. And when this shift happens, it's going to feel weird because peace is going to feel unfamiliar when you haven't had peace for so long. You're going to sometimes question, oh, am I being too picky? You're going to ask yourself, where's this spark? But y'all, listen here. The spark you were missing this entire time is trauma. You're not being triggered. You don't want to have trauma. You're missing the trauma because you're not used to not having the trauma. That silence, that safety, that is love, and that's what you deserve. And healing is a little bit odd and weird sometimes because we don't often realize that we're healing. I'm going to give you a little example here because I've had some conversations with my friends when I was healing and I didn't realize I was starting to heal. So, when I was healing from my past relationship and I started going on dates again, I would find like a few little things I didn't like about somebody and I would not go out with them. And I would ask my friends, I'm like, am I being too picky? Like, am I just never gonna find somebody because I'm just nitpicking at every little thing? And no, the answer is no, I'm not being too picky. I raised my standards. I know what I want in a partner. I know what I deserve in a partner, and I am not going to settle for less than I deserve. I am single now. I am going to explore. I'm going to find what I want. I'm never going to settle for less than I deserve. I'm not being picky. And I did go through phases where I was bored with my life. I would just sit in bed and be like, "Ugh, I'm so bored. I miss like having chaos." I like would miss my ex sometimes because I was fighting with nobody. And I was only missing the trauma. I was bored because I didn't have that trauma and I was used to the trauma. And that it made me miss him when I didn't really miss him. And now I am so much better off. So much better off because I can say I fully healed from that. I don't think I fully healed from childhood yet. We're close. I don't think I'm fully there yet. I don't want to false advertise me, but I'm definitely fully healed from that relationship because I noticed my standards changed because I don't think I'm being too picky anymore because I realized what I want in a partner and I am not going to give up until I get it. I'm not going to settle for less than I deserve. If I want someone to plan dates for me, I want flowers, I want unconditional love, I want surprise dates. Like I want those things. And I'm not just going to go for any Joe Schmo who's just like, let's just go get drinks. Which honestly, drinks is fine for like a first date, but like, you know what I mean? Like that, I don't want that all the time. And I've had come across people who want to go on drink dates every time we go on a date. And I'm like, that gets old. That gets boring. I want something new. I want to do stuff. Let's go to a museum. Let's go to the beach. It's summertime. Let's go do something. Let's go on a hike, like something. And I love that I raised my standards because I truly don't think I'm being too picky anymore. And I don't think I will never have love. I did think that when I first started healing, but that's how I know that I have healed from that because I know I'm deserving of love and I know I will get it. I just have to find the right kind of person. And it's not going to be someone like my ex. It's not going to be like someone like my father. This new person needs to be someone completely different than everyone I've ever been with and my father. Because if they're similar to them in the slightest, they are not who I want to be with. Get rid of it. Drop it. No, girl, don't do it. I want to end today's episode with a little something I've never done before. I have some homework for you. You're like, what, Lexi? What the fuck are you talking about? But let's just end with something actionable because glow ups aren't just being aware, they're about movement. I want to give you a little journal prompt, okay? So, what part of me still entertains people who don't love me well? And be brutally honest. Don't judge yourself. Just explore. Maybe ask some of these questions. What am I afraid of feeling if I let them go? What's the worst that'll happen if I let them go? What am I gaining from staying in this dynamic? Those are just some questions that I want you to ask yourself and see if this relationship is worth it for you. Now, here's a little glow up affirmation, okay? I no longer feel at home in chaos. I am worthy of love that is calm and true. Your mantra for the week is the love I accept reflects the love I give to myself. I want to thank you all for listening to today's episode. I hope this helped you kind of understand why you're attracting who you're attracting, why you keep kind of attracting the same type of relationships, because you're probably like, why the fuck do I keep getting hurt? Why am I getting in the same patterns over and over and over again? I hope this episode kind of cleared that up for you. And I know this one hit deep because we've all been there. You are not broken. You are not behind. You're becoming. And becoming isn't always pretty, but it's powerful. Keep growing and keep glowing, y'all. I really hope this helps you. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, please subscribe, share it on your story. I want to hear your takeaways from today's episode. I love you so much. I really, truly do. Even though I haven't met y'all, I love you and I want the best for you. And I really hope I'm able to help you. Thank you for listening. Bye.